to really understand what's going on in New York, you have to understand that about 11% of the population of New York City is Jewish, and 11% of the population of New York City is Muslim. And the voters who are most likely to vote for Zohran Mamdani are young and they are immigrant. If you look at the native-born voters in New York, they're voting overwhelmingly for Andrew Cuomo or Curtis Lewa. If you look at the people who are immigrants or the children of immigrants, they are overwhelmingly voting for Zohran Mamdani. And so what we have here is a youth problem in New York City. You do have a cultural problem in New York City, and you have a bunch of people who didn't grow up in the shadow of 9/11 or who don't care about 9/11.
Tuesday, we're going to find out exactly who the new mayor of New York is going to be. And according to the polls, it looks very likely that it's going to be Zohran Mamdani. Take a look at this clip over here with Mark Levin and Ben Shapiro giving their assessment on Mamdani, on his character, on who he is. So we'll watch it together and then we'll talk about it. But first, hit that subscribe button over there in the corner. We'd love to stay in touch. Check this out.
So Ben Shapiro, we had Zuhdi Jasser on, who is a Muslim, a reformist. You are a red-blooded American who happens to be an Orthodox Jew as well. Obviously, I am Jewish as well. So when you look at a guy like Mamdani, did you ever think we'd reach a point in New York City, which is the second biggest population of Jews on the face of the earth, that a person like this, who is an out-of-the-closet anti-Semite and worse, pals around with terrorists and supporters of terrorists and says the things that he says, that he has a shot at being mayor?
You know, well, I think the most astonishing thing about this is not that Mamdani is likely to be the next mayor of New York. I think the most astonishing thing is the change in the demographics of New York itself. To really understand what's going on in New York, you have to understand that about 11% of the population of New York City is Jewish, and 11% of the population of New York City is Muslim. And the voters who are most likely to vote for Zohran Mamdani are young and they are immigrant. If you look at the native-born voters in New York, they're voting overwhelmingly for Andrew Cuomo or Curtis Lewa. If you look at the people who are immigrants or the children of immigrants, they are overwhelmingly voting for Zohran Mamdani. And so what we have here is a youth problem in New York City. You do have a cultural problem in New York City, and you have a bunch of people who didn't grow up in the shadow of 9/11 or who don't care about 9/11. I mean, the fact is that I think that the mistake that people who oppose Mamdani make is that we think that all the stuff we don't like about him is a bug. And it's not a bug, it's a feature. It's actually the thing that drew people to him in the Democratic primary. The Democratic primary base is so far to the left that when he says that he doesn't know whether Hamas should disarm, or when he campaigns alongside people who were unindicted co-conspirators in the 1993 World Trade Center bombing, we say, how could he survive that? And I think that we're asking the wrong question. The question is, why is that actually appealing to people? He's not winning in spite of those things. He's winning because of those things. And what that bespeaks is something much worse than Mamdani. It's a sea change in the Americans who support him and a gigantic portion of the American left that has radicalized to the point where his ugliest views are actually the things that attract them the most.
I take that to mean that our immigration system has really broken down. It used to be that people can only come into the country that show allegiance to the country. Our assimilation process is almost non-existent. In our colleges and universities, quite the opposite. Even K through 12, quite the opposite with the radical teachers unions and faculty now. And so we have that. And we also have our media, which is constantly platforming people who are anti-American, Marxist in ideology, anti-Jewish, anti-Semite in ideology, and so forth and so on. So these are having an impact. Have I missed something? Other things too, no doubt.
No, I mean, I think that is the story of Mamdani and his supporters. Mamdani is almost a crystallization of this entire movement in his very person. And this is a person who immigrated to the United States alongside his family from a third world country, Uganda. And his mother became a famous producer and his father became a professor at Columbia. Both of them despise America and think that America is an awful place. He grew up with all that America has to offer, best prep schools. He goes to Bowdoin in Maine. And there he studies Africana studies. That was literally his topic of study, which is all about colonialism and imperialism and the evils of the West. And then he gets out and he proceeds to become a failed rapper, rapping about the freedom of the Holy Land Five, which is an actual front group for terrorism. I mean, actually people who are in jail for having fronted money giving to Hamas, money laundering for Hamas. And then he ends up basically being a ne'er-do-well until he's elected to the New York State Assembly. And now he's running for mayor on the platform that the real victims of 9/11 were non-existent relatives or mysterious relatives who someone once looked askance at when they were on the New York subway system. And then he claims that if you oppose him, it's because you're Islamophobic. I mean, he really is, again, a crystallization of a grievance culture that we have inculcated, not just in our own young people, but we've imported from abroad. So we have people who are coming from abroad who are aggrieved at us while they take advantage of all the best things that America can give them.
He has support for BDS, the boycott, divestment, and sanctions against Israel. He's called for the end to U.S. military aid to Israel. He accused Israel of apartheid. He fails to acknowledge terror that's caused by Hamas. In fact, on October 8th of 2023, meaning the day after the October 7th attacks, he essentially blamed Israel in tweets for basically causing what happened to them. And so I think part of the reason that it's so jarring and alarming for some is the fact that it's not so much that he won the primary or even if he becomes the mayor, but I think there's another element to it that people are concerned that he is not getting elected despite the fact that he has these particular viewpoints. He's getting elected because he has these particular viewpoints. And that means that there are enough people in the area that is voting in New York City that hold to these beliefs. And these beliefs are not good beliefs. These beliefs are not in sync with Western civilization. Many of them, from his far radical left communistic views of the world, his anti-Semitic rhetoric that he has said in the past, all of those are not, it's not about him. It's about the fact that he is being elected because of those things, or that he's gaining popularity with those things. We'll see what happens, keep you informed as things develop. If you like this content overall, hit that subscribe button over there in the corner. We'd love to stay in touch. Take care.